139. Theresa's shares.
Ray, I've come to see you because I've just made a wonderful business deal, and I need your advice on what to do with my money.
Great. It always pleases me to see that my clients do good business. What is it about?
Do you remember those shares of a company called Meeting Point that I inherited from my father?
Yeah, the shares had a high value, but they were impossible to sell.
Exactly. They were syndicated, and they represented 1% of the company's value. The other shareholders didn't buy them, and nobody from outside was interested in coming in with such a small share.
Besides, you never got any dividends from them.
Never, although they made high profits.
That's called capitalizing the company. It's used more and more to be able to finance big projects, but the poor shareholders don't get any dividends.
Exactly. I was a poor shareholder who was getting richer every year because my shares were worth more, but I didn't see any money at all. And besides, I had to pay more taxes every year because the capital value was increasing. And it's been going on like that for 10 years.
That was just your situation.
If I had continued that way, I don't know what would have happened.
And what's the happy end to the story?
Well, suddenly, a bank from Los Angeles got interested in buying a large number of the company's shares, and I offered to sell mine.
Wonderful.
Do you know how much they paid me for those shares, which were only costing me money up to now? Guess.
I don't remember their capital value, but $100,000?
10 times more. $1 million.
Wow, you've become a millionaire.
Can I consider myself a millionaire with $1 million?
Obviously. You have joined the Millionaires Club, and you have other properties too, apart from the million.
Can you imagine, Ray? $1 million.
That's the amount Robert Redford offered Demi Moore in the film Indecent Proposal. You didn't need to accept any proposal.
Well, if Robert Redford had made me the offer, I wouldn't have minded.
I think if he knew you, he certainly would have made you the offer.
Thanks, Ray. You're always so gallant.
Theresa, you're the prettiest girl who comes to my office, and I can tell you that many come here. And what's more, you're rich now.
Ray, yesterday I was waiting for them to pay me. At 5 to 12 midday, I connected my computer to my bank. My credit balance was $4,500. At 1 minute past 12, I connected again, and my account had suddenly risen to $1,004,500.
I love it.
I was paralyzed looking at the screen in a state of bliss. If I hadn't connected the computer twice, I wouldn't have lived that unforgettable moment.
What a wonderful moment it must have been. I presume you're coming to see me for advice on what to do with all that money.
That's right. I suppose you're going to recommend me to put it into investment funds. That's what the rich do. But is it a good thing to do?
Look, if you had come with this capital a year ago, your million would now have turned into $1.5 million.
And is that normal?
No, of course not.
What if I had come 2 years ago with $1 million? How much money would I have now?
Let's see. In the last 24 months, in the fund I would have recommended, if you hadn't sold anything, you would now have $1,750,000.
Not bad either.
But these last 2 years have obviously not been ordinary years.
And what could happen to my million in the coming year? If I invest in funds, I can make, but also lose part of my capital.
It depends. Now, there's a very interesting fund which is guaranteed. That means you can never lose your capital, even if things go wrong. Even if the stock market goes down.
Really? That interests me, but it sounds difficult to believe, doesn't it?
Well, you have to commit yourself to leaving your money in for 3 years, and your capital rises according to the gains of the stock market. But should it sink, you can still get your million back in 3 years' time.
And if I need the money?
If I were you, I would invest a certain amount, for example, $150,000, in a mixed fund, which is one which has a low risk and immediate availability. You'll only get from 5 to 6% profit in a fund like that.
And the rest?
The rest I would put into the guaranteed stocks fund for 3 years, where you can make great profits, as has happened in the last 2 years.
Could it be that after 3 years, I won't have made anything?
This would be the worst of all cases. The normal thing is for people to make between 10 and 15% a year, which puts you close to 50% in 3 years, with the possibility of making much more. The end of the millennium looks very promising.
Ray, what if I invited you to my favorite restaurant and we keep talking about the topic there?
To be invited out by such a pretty rich woman sounds great to me.
Let's go then. I want to decide about my investments and leave everything well organized so I can go on vacation to the Polynesian Islands next week.